last name is not clear to me, Elizabeth Blaine, Rita Gomez Rodriguez. If you would come forward, Renee Chavez, come forward immediately. We wish to hear your public comment. On item number 15.
Mr. Chair, yes, we also had item 42.
I don't know what 42 is, but it's not.
Customer code of conduct amendments.
All right, let me just go to 15, and then we. All right, those persons who wish to be heard need to come forward when I call the name. Going forward, then, Jose Gonzalez, Ellen Hansa, Alfred Lugo, Art Vieros. Are these persons whose names I'm calling here to be heard? If so, please come to the microphone so that you can speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Rita Gomez Rodriguez. I am with the Coalition for the Boyle Heights East L.A. Culture Center on First and Lorena. I represent myself, property owners around the project, businesses around the project. I have a business on First in Indiana, which is a block away. I live half a block away from the station and another half a block from the First in the Arena project. I believe that we need a cultural center there for our youth, so they can learn what California about, what Mexico about, so they can learn where their ancestors came. We need culture centers and arts. Also, I have a question. Are you allowed to advertise for the housing there on the Arena and First when there is no project yet? Are you allowed to advertise?
Thank you. I'll ask staff to get with you and respond on that. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Renee Chavez, and I'm a homeowner in the community of Boyle Heights and a former RAC member for the East Side was the Red Line. The properties that we are discussing, of course, were excess properties that were necessitated because it was not part of the original scope. And with respect to the corner of First and Lorena, I, with other community members and business owners, are totally against having housing in any way, shape, or form on that particular corner because it's not safe. And if you would like to get staff to take a look at what we're talking about, already the project is being listed on the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. It is a county website. Not only this project on First and Lorena, but also over on Chavez and First. Big problem. You guys don't even, we're here talking about an ENA extension that hasn't even been, well, actually was approved today. You don't have a DDA with these people, but you're already advertising this as bed space. That's not appropriate. I would also challenge MTA, unfortunately, for not properly notifying the community, and with Supervisor Solis just recently putting legislation forward about accessibility to Wi-Fi.
Please conclude.
Yes, I will. How were things notified? We talk about meetings that were supposed to happen. We don't have a count of how many attended, how many said yes, how many said no, how many duplications, and how people were notified. We have a serious problem here that we need to get resolved.
Thank you. Next speaker.
It's already good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jose Luis Gonzalez, and I've been in the art field 58 years. I started the first Chicano Art Center in the United States. I did the official mural for the 1984 Olympics for the city of L.A. And I'm totally against what they're trying to do on First and Lorena. I am for a cultural center because we need that in our community. Both in East L.A. and Boyle Heights are in lack of anything that has culture in our community. We started the mural movement. It picked up very nice. And I was here last week and I talked to you about it. And I'm telling you that we need a cultural center in our community. I'm not opposed to the housing, but it's not appropriate to do it on the First and Lorena corner. The best place right there is for a cultural center. We need it in our community. Please, I want to tell you that we're going to try our best to try to get a cultural center in our community. We definitely need it. Thank you.
Thank you. I have the next speaker is Ellen Honsa.
Good afternoon, my name is Ellen Hansen, and I'm here representing myself, but also many families that are my families in the Boyle Heights area. And I agree that we need to, actually, Ridley Thomas and Solis had written something about wanting to improve the cultural and arts. And East LA was before and should be again headquarters of cultural arts learning, and that it would be a prime area. We're not against the housing projects, but that corner is really not a good corner. The other two lots might be totally amenable for that kind of building, but please consider removing the First and Lorena project and making it a cultural center.
Art Fierros, Boyle Heights East L.A. Coalition. Number one, Boyle Heights doesn't have a homeless problem. And number two, this is like a charade that's going to about to unfold here. I can't believe what the nonprofits go to just to push these apartments on us. You know, I'm for a cultural center, but you know what, it's a sad thing to see this. And you all sit there and condone this. You go through this, I don't know how often you might be going through this, but it's not right. We live in Boyle Heights, and we want our community. And we don't have identity. We don't have a cultural center. Everybody does. We don't. And man, you know, how far does this have to go? We're going to sue. We have no choice. We're going to sue. But the point is that it shouldn't have to come to this. We need a cultural center.
My name is Apolumo. I'm a veteran advocate, and my concern is using veterans for housing to sell the property. I'm not really comfortable with that because we're already having a problem in West LA VA system and not housing enough veterans, and there's empty rooms there. The other thing is with a cultural center would work good with us because in the cultural center we can create classes for veterans suffering from PTSD and TBI and constant or high suicide rates. We have a lot of Latino veterans that need that help. They need the creativity to work with the PTSD problems that they have. The housing creates a room to sleep in and where to eat. A cultural center teaches, and the veterans can learn from that to handle their illnesses. I'm also concerned about the possible destruction of the National Hispanic Vietnam Veterans Memorial on Soto and Susan Chavez.
All right, we thank you for your testimony, sir. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Edward Tamayo. I represent the 70 small business owners in the Mercado, and none of them have been informed very well about what's going on. We had an appointment with Mrs. Solis in her office, and I went that day to check on it, and they said there's no meeting. And I said, well, is it to another day or what? No, we got to reschedule. Well, I said, can you check the schedule? Because it was supposed to be a meeting. The two women said they didn't have any idea. I said, well, can you check the schedule, the calendar? It was Thursday. And they said, no, it was never on the calendar. So we're being avoided. We don't appreciate it. She's never been to the Mercado to come to talk to us. And we would like a little more help on either way, whichever way it goes. We still need more help from her. And the cultural center is much better than what we already have. Overcrowding. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hey, good afternoon. Now in the afternoon. Hi, my name is Leandro Chira. I'm representing the Mercado. I'm also a stakeholder and property owner in the Boyle Heights area. I'm also part of the Boyle Heights East L.A. Coalition, who is in favor of building a let's see, the state-of-the-art multicultural activity center. Let's expand this. Yes, ACOP has done very well to secure their property, to house people. Maslow's hierarchy of needs just tells us that's all they're looking to do is house people and do limited services. The cultural center we're looking at is not only going to address the immediate needs. We have a 30% obesity rate within an area. We have almost a 20% dropout rate all the way from 8th grade to high school students. 30% of those kids who make it to college are going to drop out within the first year. The activity center we're looking at is going to have services to help address that. Help address those that look for housing. Help address those that need services. Veterans, you want to help veterans? I'm a returning combat veteran, and with the company back then, is someplace to go to, and I'll finish in 2 seconds, is somewhere where I can learn how to readjust to civilian society. That's what we need. We need housing, but for this property, it's not suitable. Let's build something that's going to solidify us from our past, so our children can have and build an identity, but also secure our children and get them ready for the future. Because you know it, we're being pushed behind.
All right, sir, thank you for your testimony. Be heard on this item have had the opportunity to be heard. With that,
Mr. Chairman?
yes, that is before us.
Yes, before we vote on the item, I do want to mention to those that came before us today that this has gone through much discussion, and since I've been on the board, I was very happy to see that our Metro staff has done their due diligence in going out further and providing more opportunity for input from our community members. And as was stated by the actual board that represents the area, the neighborhood council there, the vote was unanimous. And we do know the urgency of getting affordable housing for low-income families. That is something that I believe very strongly in, and I'm glad to be a part of this. And I did hear at one of our last planning meetings that the group that came before that said they wanted to see a community center. We asked the developers, our community friends, to meet with the developers to talk about a community center or something of that sort. Now, whether or not they met or not, I don't have that information, but that was made very clear that we wanted that to happen. That doesn't mean it can't still happen. I would urge that discussion to continue. But we have heard you. I'm very grateful that all of you are here on both sides. It's very important for people to hear your concerns. But at this point, I have to tell you that the approval by the local process, I think, has been complete, and there's good evidence to show that there was a lot of communication and dialogue, and there will continue to be. And for those individuals that tried to come to my office, I understand you visited the East L.A. office and spoke to one of my field representatives. We'll be happy to entertain a meeting at that office. Thank you very much, and I'd like to move the item.
The item has been properly moved. Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. Are there any dissenting votes on the item before us? Please vote unanimous vote. All right.